Everybody knows you and your fucking gay buddy are cheating. That's why no one wants to play with you. You faggot-ass motherfucker. Your shit shows offline. It's because you're gay. Nigger.
Yeah, hilarious, huh? It makes you wonder. What is Bracken, boyos? It is Rezi here, bringing you. Yes, it is a triple nuclear equivalent, but it is a 141 KD. It is a double nuclear with 30 on unstoppables. Now, what I really do hate about this type of gameplays is that most of the high KD gameplays that I see are only single nuclears, like 40, 50 gun streaks, at best a 60 gun streak. But this gameplay is much more impressive in my opinion, because not only is it a high KD, but it has a double nuclear with 30 on stop. It could have been, son of a bitch, it could have been like a high ass gun streak and a high ass kill streak, but of course my dumbass gets killed by a knife. Granted, the fact it was using Ghost, but that's pretty much it. Of course, that's pretty much for the gameplay, and let's get into the commentary, boyos. Many of you, if not all of you, already know how my viewpoint towards this community that we... Is it even called pub-stomping? It's not even called pub-stomping, it's just called content creation, isn't it? That's disgusting. Anyways, many of you know my hostile nature towards the Neo-competitive Pubstompers. The Neo-Comp-Pubstompers. They're not truly Pubstompers, boys, but they're not truly competitive players either. They're just like a weird mixture, a weird mixture of these two beautiful groups. And of course, if you mix these two beautiful groups, you get a parasite. Simple, no cap, right? What I've noticed, boys, and I'll talk about this later on to the video, when we compare the true Pubstompers, such as us, and whenever I say us, those of you who are Pubstompers, the true Pubstompers, the ones that are OG, the ones that are still getting gameplays because they simply enjoy it. You know what I mean when I talk about this. The gameplays that we have gotten compared to the... Now, before I continue, when I say gameplay, I'm only referring to us. Alright, boyos? Only to us. When I say videos, I'm referring to them, the Neo-Comp-Pubstompers. Just remember that, right? Now, back to what I was saying. When we look at the gameplays that we have gotten compared to the videos that they have gotten, the difference is quite drastic. Now, granted, many of you will say, oh, but you boyos had better COD games. You are correct. But tell me, why is it we can get amazing gameplays on newer COD games, the games that you guys should be excelling at, yet you are incapable of getting the exact same gameplays on the new game? There's no excuse for that. There truly isn't. There truly is not. You see, boyos, though we had amazing games back in the day, perfect examples, MW2, MW3, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1. The gameplays that many of us have gotten there on those games is amazing. The teams that many of us have started, such as Carnage, Doom, and of course TapX, they have all sadly been, for lack of a better word, destroyed. Now they do exist, TapX not so much anymore, because let's be honest, boys, if you're going to create multiple channels, and name that one as TapX, it's not truly the original. If you don't have the same leadership, the same mindset, the same goal, and ultimately the same drive, you're not gonna do anything good with it. But they all have been destroyed, boys. Carnage, Doom, TapX, they're no longer pub-stomping. Let's be honest with ourselves, they're not pub-stomping. They're simply content creation. Now, though we do have these games, we can still get the gameplays that are in these new CODs, boys. A good example would be me. I have the world's highest KD in the game, which is 236. And I do have the world's highest KD overall in BO4, which is an 11 with a 13 EKIA. I don't know why. I only have 7 days played on the game, and I almost have 300 nukes. Now compare that to the Neo-Competitive Pubstompers, boys. compared to a really good Pubstomper, they are nothing. They have, let's say, sometimes upwards to 25, 30 days with a 3-4 KD, maybe sometimes a 5 if you're pretty good. But look at their SPM and their nuclear counts. Really low SPM, 300s. If you're lucky, 400. Nuclear counts, only around 150 or 100 in almost 25 days. 20 days play. That's horrible. No, granted there was no VSAT in the game, but that is no excuse. If I can get almost 300 in only 7 days of game time, and like 30, I was about to say 30. Yeah, almost 30 kill chains and 3,000 unstoppables, only 7 days. We have a problem here. Let's be honest with ourselves, boys. We have a problem here. But of course, they do outnumber us, boyos. The Neo-Comp-Pubstompers do outnumber us. And of course, there is certain people to blame. Of course, ex-Pubstompers who have become content creators. Of course, I would not bring up any names, but many of them now have a large following on Twitter. Well, not Twitter. Well, of course, a large following on Twitter and, of course, YouTube. Many of them have hundreds of thousands. One of them has 1 million, almost 2 million. But it's a shame, boils, because they were once like us, and of course, they're teaching this new generation to think what they're doing is Pubstomping, but let's be honest with ourselves, it's not, boils. It's truly not. Now, as I said in the beginning, my hostile nature simply comes from their attitude, their personality, if you can even call what they have a personality. I view it as pathetic, narcissistic, and ultimately destructive. Now, of course, I will not say that the people that we had in the past, the true Pubstompers, were narcissistic or rude in nature. They were. But when you compare them to what we have now, back in the day, it was much more timid, much more contained, and much more secure. But if you look at these parasites, many of them have like this odd, sporadic tendency to just go off on a weird-ass tandem rage. Now, granted, many of these people do create teams, and many of these teams they create, if not all of them, usually fail because their lack of leadership, their lack of actual, what is that word? Confidence. If you lack this ability, and you're leading a team, if you can even call it leading a team, your team is gonna fail. I'm sorry, but your team will fail. If you do not have a core, strong leadership with members who are willing to help. Now, when I say this, whenever I say members who are willing to help, I'm not gonna say like, oh, can I get this single nuke and a 40 gun shit? No. You see, it's quite simple. When you look at the teams that we have now compared to the teams that we had back in the day, these newer, smalling, neo-competitive pub-stomping teams are nothing like us. But of course, they will say, but pub-stomping was much more well-known back in the day. You're correct. But still, it proceeds, it still goes on. But of course, who are to blame for this downfall? It's not us, not the OG Pubstompers, it is you. The Neo-Con competitive snipers, the Neo-Comp-Pubstompers. Because you have tarnished it, you have destroyed it. And of course, it is thanks to your pathetic, materialistic ideology, your self-centered, narcissistic tendencies. Now granted, many of you do have sociopathic tendencies, sociopathic traits. But does that make you a sociopath? Of course it doesn't. But, of course, many of you are sociopaths in the so-called community. Now, boys. Well, whenever I say boyos and boys, two differences. When I say boyos, I'm talking to us, the Pubstompers. When I say boys, I'm talking to the Neo-Comps. Alright? Now let's continue boyos. Now that we have the gameplays out of the way, our gameplays compared to theirs, just nothing. There is no comparison. There truly is no comparison. Now let's look at our personalities, the way we conduct ourselves, the way we show ourselves to others. Many of us, boyos, have a large respect for each other. Though we may have hated each other in the past, we have grown to eliminate those indifferences that we had. We are friends now. These Neo-Comp-Pubstompers do not do that. They are not like, they're not a singular community, if that makes any sense. One day they'll be friends, the other day they'll be not. The other day they'll make a team, and the other day the team will fail because, let's be honest ourselves, you don't have that good leadership, you'll just fail, okay? Many of these people, boys, they're not like us, like we were back in the day. We are always for each other. They are not. They are out for each other. They want to bring other people down. They want to bring their own down because they believe that if they do that, they will succeed. They will take that mantle, if you will. Of course, as I said in my previous video, it's like a bundle of sticks, a fasciste. But Resi, doesn't that mean faggot? Okay, yes it does. But it's like a fasciste, a bundle of sticks tied together by a strong knot. If you hit somebody with a stick, it's gonna break. That's what these people are. They are a single stick. Eventually, it will break. Maybe after 1, 2, 3 hits. But if you got, let's say, 30 sticks tied up in a knot, you can do some damage with that. You truly can. But these people do not have that mentality that we do, boyos. And as I've said before, yes, we are outnumbered by them, but of course, you can tell the differences. You can tell who was in the community for a long time just based on their personality, the way they conduct themselves, and of course the gameplays they get. When you compare us to them, it's quite obvious, really. It truly is. Of course, that comes from the maturity factor, but it also comes from the experience factor. Yes, the new ones, the Neo-Competitive Pubstompers, they are younger boys. We already know this. Such as how we were back in the day. Many of us are still young. I'm young as fuck too. But that still does not. That is not an excuse for them to act like that. They can mature, but of course many of us boyos have matured much earlier. And much faster, really. But of course, as we already seen with these people, there's nothing we can do for them. There truly isn't. They are not like us. They are incapable of being like us. And let's be honest with ourselves, boys. Many of them do have quote-unquote OG gamer tags. Now, whenever I hear the word OG gamer tag, I'm like, okay, are you talking about somebody who has had the tag for about 14, 15 years? Or are you simply talking about, like, an actual word? And of course, that would mean, oh, it's an actual word, man, OG gamer tag. That's what disgusts me. If you're talking about actual words, just call him, oh, he's got a word gamer tag. If you're saying OG, oh, he has a gamer tag that he's had for almost a decade. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, but of course they don't understand that, boys, because most of them do have, I'm gonna say it regularly, they do have OG gamer tags, they do have word gamer tags. And of course, this is the sad part. They have an ego over these tags. Now, compare our following to their following. Though they may have more Xbox, remember boys, people actually treat Xbox as a social media app. Disgusting, isn't it? And this is one of the reasons why they will continue to fail. They have this false sense of ego, this false sense of superiority, and this high sense of self. Now, of course, you mix those all together, it's one lethal cocktail. One that I actually see great enjoyment in people drinking. And of course, it's fun to see them go down. But of course, that's just me being an asshole. Now, I said this before, boyos. They're extremely egotistical, narcissistic, self-centered, and ultimately destructive. Will they ever be like us? Hell no. Definitely not. They're all the same. They all try to act differently, but let's be honest with ourselves. They are all the same. In their failed attempts to be different, they all act the same. Isn't this weird? They all talk the same, they all sound the same, they all have the exact same odd tendencies. They're all egotistical, they're all narcissistic, they're all out for each other, and of course, they're all destructive. But boyos, there's so much things I can talk about, but this video is only about 14-15 minutes long. I'll talk about it more in a different video. But anyways, it's been Border Resi. Have a great day as always, and peace Now don't forget, boys, always shoot your local drug dealer. Don't forget that. Alright, good day.